1-4-5-9 if you switch on it.
1-4-5-9. Okay, so now I have to go to events and okay, I will do this. I will do this.
Right. So I just want to
Okay,
show you what
this one
happens
I can show.
in this game. Yeah, in this game, what happens here. So, I mean, after, I think, time control, approximately move 40, 48, 47.
Okay, so we go back to move. Okay, tell me. Okay, so I go back to move 47. Okay, let's talk about this position. So clearly, white is a pawn ahead and he has a better protected king and his pawn is on the 7th. Why isn't he winning?
Well, because obviously we have should I wait for the answer for our fox, or should we say what they're saying?
I don't know. Somebody has to tell me. I mean, well, in this kind of position, you have a safe king and you have your pawn on the 7th. Why isn't white winning easily, particularly for Magnus Carlsen? People, tell us what's going on there. What are we missing?
Yeah, I guess we have again the huge luck, Alex. And,
yeah, that's the problem. Okay, so let's take an intelligent guess. You know that it's the
reason why we are not winning on spot because of these two guys, and these two guys obviously opposite colors.
Yeah, the bishops opposite color.
And also, the final destination of this pawn b8 square. Fortunately for black, as the same color as my bishop.
And the pawn on f2 can be attacked, but you know what I think? I want to add something to this. Well, the presence of the queens makes this counter-attacking potential is very important because of mating threats. If you substitute queens for rooks, then eventually white will always break through this kind of defense. You can have this. It doesn't matter, you know, like, I don't know, white will win with rooks. But with queens, it's harder. And Topalov plays this move queen h4, and he threatens bishop takes f2, mate. Leaves Magnus no time.
Yeah, by the way, this is another important moment here because somebody mentioned about time, which is like a great practical skills by Topalov, who actually kept himself always ahead on time by making sure his time. I mean, he's going to push like Magnus by always dealing with time issues, which is actually surprising me, Alex, because we used to know Magnus as the person who always on top of time, right? He always been like ahead on time. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, but Magnus also known to be a slow starter lately in tournaments. Maybe he hasn't. Obviously, when we tell the whole story. I mean, I think he played a good game, but still, he is not the Magnus we're gonna see later in the tournament. And indeed, I noticed he was slow.
Yeah, so I think you're right. So what happens? Oh, I'm not sure what.
Oh yeah. Okay, I will do this. Okay, let's not.
No, it's okay. Queen f6.
Okay, so I will just show every move there. Yeah. So you just tell me when to move.
I have a game. Don't worry. Queen c2, play.
Yeah.
And then Topalov keep playing on dark squares by controlling this square, obviously, and hitting this square.
Yeah, threatening. He is threatening to win this pawn on g3, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and also controlling b8 square. So we can't really get away from the pin because there's always check and this pawn will be hanging. So which means white has to play something like this, would happen in a game. And then I think Topalov found very nice defense, right? He played bishop a7.
Yeah, and then he played queen f6, so he's always on that f2 pawn. It's just incredibly difficult. And of course, if the queens are off, then it's gonna be a draw.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a draw. There is no way. I was actually thinking that maybe somehow, some way, because I remember that a game that Levon Aronian played against Etienne Bacro, there was really a fantastic endgame with this opposite cover bishops. But the problem is that here, what Levon had, he had the pawn on a6. It was more effective because once he moved the pawn to f4, it wasn't possible for black to ever capture it with the bishop. But here, suppose you trade queens, and even if you put the pawn to f4, and then you start this long journey with the king to the queen side, at some moment black is gonna play h4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, I can't change anything here because we can't analyze here. I'm just gonna show how the game went. So no progress here, and finally there, and then queen d4. Once again. And now queen f3. This was clever. In this position, it's impossible to take on f2 because the pawn will queen. But just bishop there. Threat of h4. You know why I think Topalov played so well? Because the nature of the position is such that black is defended by counter-attacking. So Topalov was himself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think Topalov found very nice defensive tool because he kept working around these two subjects. He's trying to, I mean, obviously explore the diagonals, either a7, g1, or b8, h2. I mean, his defense was very practically sound, and I think, I mean, honestly, even computer keeps showing like you were right, Alex, when I asked you before. I thought actually what was winning just because I'm trying to, trust computer. But then when I analyzed the game by myself, okay, like +2, +1.5, but
yeah, but it means nothing, Melik. It doesn't change. It just gives white this. It's almost like if one of those endgames, I don't know, bishop wrong cover square on your h pawn, and computers would give big numbers or whatever. And I mean, here I just don't see white making any progress, and I tend to trust Magnus Carlsen because if there was anything there, Magnus would have found it.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And he tried, and look what he found. He found an incredible idea here.
King h3, yeah, he found a very decent move, king h3.
But taking the pawn on h5 doesn't help at all because it gives up f2. He found this incredible idea. So finally, as black goes forward, he ignores it and invites black to play this move queen g4 in this position. But if you play queen g4, you're gonna lose. I cannot show you what's gonna happen, but guys, just think ahead. If you play queen g4, white is gonna take everything, sacrifice the bishop for 2 pawns, and then this is just gonna be a winning position for white.
Right.
Because once white moves the king through g4 to f3, and then he goes pawns g4 and f5. And after that he can start the journey with the king to c6. And g4 pawn cannot be taken at any moment.
Yeah, because it's a 3 pawns. It's a very well-known theoretical position, which Alex showing to you. Maybe we should show them.
I can't show it now because I'm just showing. I don't have the analysis board.
I'll show. It's okay.
Yeah, let's switch to yours.
Yeah, well, right here. So basically, what Alex.
Okay, let me just switch to yours now. I'm gonna. Okay, no, it's not this one. Pardon me. I'm gonna find it.
No, I'm already showing this, and they should see it.
No, well, I have to switch because you're showing it now. I will follow your board. Okay, I switched to Melik's board. You guys should be able to see it. But repeat, this is a variation, important variation from the Carlsen-Topalov game. This could have happened if it wasn't for Topalov's good play.
Same board, Alex. I go to 1459. Yeah, same board. So what Alex is mentioning here, this is like winning position. Only you have to do to keep pawn on a5, pawn on g4, and since g pawn is protecting f pawn, g pawn cannot be taken, and the white king runs towards the b7 pawn, and you can't really do anything.
Well, can you make those moves on the board? Can you play king f6 now?
Let's say now it should be whose turn right now? Should be queen g4.
It's black's turn. I'm on your board that's called Norway 2015. Yeah, you're doing it. Well, you're doing it, I'm broadcasting. Okay, I saw king f6. You just go f4.
F4, yeah. Let's say black stands bishop c7, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then it goes king f3.
King f3. Yeah, king f3 run. I mean, let's say you stand.
Now, important line. If the black king runs to take the b7 pawn, then the g pawn queens.
Yeah,
because there is no e5 square is not accessible.
Let's show the people.
No, this is easy because the white king goes ahead, too.
Yeah, let's say I play here and then I run with my pawn g.
On king d7.
Here. Probably this is like easy way. Okay, hold on. No, this is.
Okay. This is probably also winning. You go f5, king b7, and g4.
No, f5 he takes here.
Oh yeah.
We
Okay,
gotta
so
be
let's
careful.
play it. Let's play it more accurately in this position.
Yeah. When you need to
I
be more
think
accurate here.
I think in this position f4 is the correct move. In reply
F4
to king
here.
e6, go king g5.
Yeah, king g5.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and then g4.
Now go g4,
And then here.
f4. He takes on b7. King
and
f6.
then king f6. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. You cannot
And
try to
then we're
get
just
king
gonna
in
run the
front.
whole thing home.
Yeah.
g5,
absolutely.
g6,
And then
king
here,
f7.
and then,
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah, it's a win.
So, well, Topalov had great foresight and understanding of this endgame to avoid this line.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why Topalov didn't play queen g4 check.
Yeah,
and
he played f4, which is...
f4 move. Yeah, very nice move.
And
And
here
this is
Magnus here was down to 2 minutes and a half.
Yeah, almost no time on his clock. But I mean, I
And-
think they have a still increment. And I think what happened
Yes.
here after f4, so basically Magnus took on h5, took on f2. This was move 60.
Yes.
I mean, our vision is as soon as he moved, he hit time control with move 60. He thought he's supposed to be getting like some time on his clock.
He thought he was in Vaikanzie. Well, in some other tournaments where you always get this extra 15 minutes after move 60. But the problem, okay, we can blame obviously FIDE and all this organizers of various tournaments because they can never find a uniform time control that would satisfy everyone. Well, as at least a former chess player, I can tell one thing: I don't really care what time control is, as long as it's always the same. I mean, people, just get your act together once and for all. Maybe what happened to poor Magnus, would finally serve as a wake-up call. So this FIDE boys, and whoever is in charge, Kasparov, Rex Sinquefield, Barack Obama, just get your act together and make one time control, like chess players used to have for, 50 years, since World War II. Always playing under the same time control. That's really getting ridiculous. One tournament they say no increment, so that then they have the increment, but from move 1, then they have the increment from move 60. And now poor Magnus thought he was getting his 15 minutes, and he played one move, queen g5 check, king f7, and took his eyes off the board, maybe to get a drink, maybe, I don't know. And then he was forfeited.
Well, we all remember the game. The same thing happened between, once Nakamura got punished, right? He lost the game. Who was his opponent? Back to Tal Memorial. Alex, remember the story when he also went for the drink and he thought he managed time control. I think it was a game between him and Vallejo, isn't it?
Yeah, Magnus had kind of track record of this, Maybe he's forgetful, but I understand. Well, obviously, you can also blame his team because, there are so many people traveling with Magnus and, probably the entire country of Norway, They should be sending him text, like text every second, time control. This is the time control. This is the time control. Before the tournament, drill him so he knows the time control.
You see, we blame Wesley So by putting like some notes on the score sheet before the game started. Maybe we should allow people to do that, like put something on the...
by the way, I actually guilty because I think I wrote that a few times coming to a tournament, I would write the time control on my score sheet, which technically speaking, you could get the treatment of Wesley So. Thankfully, nobody cared because I played some random opens. Imagine, isn't it useful to write the time control down because you may not remember, who knows?
Yeah.
The thing is, there used to be, I don't know, I don't want to go back to Wesley So story because they often were printed materials. How many tournaments we played and before the round, the arbiter comes and gives and puts like a copy of a tournament bulletin to every board. And the Bill Goldberg's tournaments, they throw in those flyers of their future tournaments. So you basically are provided with reading materials all the time.
Yeah,
and nobody forfeits you for this. It's okay anyway. It just...
Right.
It's
so
just
hopefully this is going to be a change,
yeah.
and they will be more clear with these rules. Because I agree with Alex because it looks like even like elite tournaments, they don't really agree, and then they have like a different time control. So look at the time control in Norway, and look at the time control in a Cuba or actually in Praga. They like in fact they're all different. It's very weird. I
Yeah,
mean,
3 tournaments going at the same time, all 3 different time controls. That's why I'm saying, it's time for this G7 or, whatever, whoever rules this universe, to decide once and for all. It's just becoming totally ridiculous. Unless somebody gets perverse pleasure, from watching great players like Magnus losing like this.
yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
really wrong, it shouldn't be happening. Topalov obviously deserves his draw, but, well, Carlsen shouldn't have lost this game.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is very very upsetting for Magnus because he actually played very well and he tried very hard to win this game. I mean, clearly he could make a draw like a long time ago. And one more thing about this game, I know most of the folks by trying to be so much dependent on the computer, and they're saying, oh, I put this on the computer, it was saying like plus 20, plus 40. I mean, yes, my computer always was showing at the beginning like plus 49, but then when he's calmed down, he's still showing like plus 1 point something, and then we all understand this is about draw. I mean, as Alex mentioned, if Magnus would see something like this, he would definitely find a win right away. There is no way.
Like, for example, I don't know, if he goes, this is the final position. Obviously,
No,
White
final
can
was
win
this is the final one.
No, they played 2 more moves.
Oh, they did?
Yes. Okay, this was it. The king was on f7, a queen on g5.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
right.
that's the
And-
final position. White can win the bishop on b8, but White wins it without check. Say bishop
Right.
c4 and then queen g8, and then you get mated in the end. And if you take on f4, then queen takes f4, it reestablishes this connection.
Yep.
And so anyway, forget about this. Well, I think we should move on.
All right, so we covered this important game. So now we can do the game, by my opinion, the best game of Aronian lost to Bashir.